Welcome back to Just Jew. That's you and me. I'm Donna.
And I am Adam. I'm also Jewish, by the way. So it's
But
just
you're just
really.
Jew. And
So,
I'm me, the Jew.
so who's Jew and who's me? Are we talking to the audience, or are you the Jew and it's me?
Well, you're just a Jew.
Ju- I'm so much more than just a Jew.
Tell me what else you are, Adam.
I am a. No, I'm just a Jew. You're right. I don't even know what to say after that. Don't know what to say.
Wow, Adam, way to minimize your
I
accomplishments.
gave up so quickly on that.
You didn't even give it a good old college try.
No. I haven't taken my nap yet, so I'm not.
No, you're not performing at your tip-top level.
I know, which I think we should make a rule that whenever we record an episode that I need to nap before.
Yeah.
So so I have my endurance to keep going and have that charm that I have.
Why didn't you nap today?
Just had work projects to do, stuff to do for my job, and it just got a little busy. And I had to fold laundry. I told Lauren I would fold the laundry before she got home from the office.
Aww.
Yes.
That's nice. Doing contributing to the home.
Oh, hell yeah, I do. I do all the dishes. I empty always. Because she cooks so much, she does so much of the cooking and so much of the other stuff that it's like we have this thing where she finishes cooking, we eat dinner, she hits the couch, hangs out, doom scrolls, looks at a magazine, hangs with the kids. Then I'm in the kitchen doing all the dishes.
Yeah, that is really the only fair way.
Of course it is, because I don't want her to have to do all of the housework. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I did that, and I just didn't have enough time to take a nap. But I will promise you and everyone else who's listening, next time I will take a nap before. So if I seem a little down now, it's because I haven't done that.
You seem down. You seem not on your game. Your eyes are glossy. Like something. Yeah, you just look like you look sleepy. You look tired. Maybe you're stoned.
Oh, I wish. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. It'd be nice though.
If you did this podcast stoned, do you think you'd be able to do it well?
No, because I would probably be very anxious and I'd be very scared that I'm fucking something up. Or I said something ridiculous. You do it?
I'm the worst stoned person in the world. I could do it. I could do it with a glass of wine.
Okay.
No question. We'd have a fun. One day we should record like an after hours, just you and me, like a Shabbat Friday night type of glass of wine. But if I tried to do any podcast stoned, it would be the worst thing. My brain doesn't function well on marijuana.
Well, now I kind of want to experiment on this. I kind of feel like we should just record one and maybe not air it and just do it just to see how we are. And then if we want to air it, we can do like, some kind of outtakes that we can.
Well, if we do, I won't do it, but you can do it. But we would use a company, and we'd have to use this specific company, and it's called Token Jew.
Okay.
Tokin.
Oh, you've told me about this. That's right.
It's the company that I bought my F Kanye shirt
nice.
from, and it's literally like a stoner company, but all Jewish owned, and they have THC, CBD type products. Like they have edibles, they have drinks, they have merch, they have all kinds of things. And I'm on their mailing list, and they have great marketing, really funny slogans and stuff. And I just think it's like the best brand. I actually have seen so many great, like I must be on that great algorithm where I'm getting amazing Instagram and like Facebook ads for, kosher or Jewish or like challah products, but just very funny. Do you ever get like in that?
I get a lot of that, and I definitely get a lot of like random Jewish cooking, like how to like basic, like when we talked about all of the the matzah hot dogs.
Yeah, got a lot of those.
Got a lot of weird. Who knew that there were 20 people on Instagram filming themselves making hot dogs out of matzah, or I guess the bun out of matzah?
Wow. I had a Dodger dog yesterday. I was at the Dodger game, and I will tell you, they ain't so good.
So here's my thing.
I feel like they've gone down in
Well,
quality.
they have, and I know this is completely who cares about this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah, don't make this a sports podcast, yeah?
No. Now it's become a hot dog podcast. It has nothing
Yeah,
to do with sports.
just hot dog and me.
There's right, and there's a void to be filled. There's not enough hot dog content out there, so let's fill that right now.
Let's stick that dog in the hole,
Yeah, in the bun, but okay, you could say the bun hole. Okay. God, that's fucking weird. No. The Dodger dogs used to be produced by a company called Farmer John, and then for whatever reason, Dodgers did not re-up that. So they had another company come in and take the hot dog business, kept the name Dodger Dog, and now they fucking suck. And now they're just so mediocre. So I hear you. And it's really aggravating because one of my favorite things about going to a Dodger game were the hot dogs.
The color of it looked like a turkey dog or like a veggie dog.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but granted, we bought them from our seats,
Okay,
like the guys that walk them around because we were lazy. But it was also a cold day.
Was
and
it?
It's not my favorite to go to a Dodger game in a cold setting. Like I would rather be there on a sunny, hot day and have like a beer and like be in a tank top.
I mean, that feels baseball. That feels like baseball.
This felt like a Cubs game in October.
Right. Oh, yeah. And you don't want that.
No.
But how much was that hot dog? Because I'm very curious to know how much it costs now. I haven't been this season yet. I've gone plenty last season. I'm wondering if it even went up from last season.
Well, it was so much money, and I kind of shut down at some point. I just said, here's my credit card. Here's my credit card. I mean, one day at the Dodger Stadium, also I enter every raffle I see. And at some point I did win a 4-day trip to Cabo and 2 tickets to the Dodger Stadium, as long as I go down to downtown Disney and watch a 90-minute presentation at the Wyndham for a timeshare. What? So are those things worth it? Have you ever had like those kinds of...
Hold on, back up. Where did this come from? This didn't happen yesterday, right?
It happened yesterday.
Wait, what? Uh-huh. Get a little bit of... Can you please explain this a little bit? Okay. How did this happen? What happened?
So it was just one of those days at the Dodger Stadium. Number one, we were there for our little league. It's called Dodger Day. So like a ton of local families went. And I've never done it. Lance has gone with Oliver before, but I was like, it will be a fun family day. And Lance is about to go out of town for a month for work. Yeah. So I was like, let's just, book it and go. It's a Sunday. All 4 of us go. We're sitting in the outfield, which I didn't understand what that meant. Lance is like, the outfield. And I'm like, it's all the outfield. What does that mean? It's outfield. It's field.
How are you a boy mom and you don't know what the outfield is?
Well, you know what? You really listen. Not all boys play baseball.
But I mean, baseball. We were just.
I thought you were like a nice liberal man here.
So now all of a sudden, that played baseball. Maybe you don't listen. Maybe
so you mean how are you a baseball mom, not a boy mom?
Yeah. Well, how are you not either? Apparently.
So. I mean, I know first base, third base, whatever, but like I didn't understand. He should have just said,
base too, by the way.
Whatever. But he should have just said the bleachers. Like that would have made more sense to me.
Okay, fair. Okay.
But I always thought the bleachers were like scary people. Okay,
that's fair. I mean, when you think about Dodger games and fights, yes, most of the fights do take place in the stands.
That's what I grew up remembering. Yeah. That like the scary drunk idiots sit out the bleachers.
That's fair.
But it wasn't that way at all. It was so like it was all families. It's just the cheaper seats, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's different like on a Sunday day game than it is like on a Wednesday night. Whatever.
Maybe it is, but okay, you sat there.
Not ideal. Not gonna lie.
I don't love those seats either because I feel
you can't see shit.
Correct.
I'm too old, and there's no cup holders, so like drinks are no cup holders, so like drinks are spilling everywhere. You don't have a seat. It's a bleacher, so like there's no rhyme or reason. Like people are in your shit. Okay, whatever. I wasn't even having drinks, so I was like I was not feeling it. So I was enjoying the atmosphere. I was doing a lot of walking.
Okay.
I was checking out the scenario. Like I was like, oh, shopping, I see a guy. He's got a jar. He's like, guess how many balls are in this jar? That's what she said. I said, oh my God. Okay, I'm guessing. Then he said, fill this out, put in your name, and if you press a button and a blue screen pops up, you're a lucky winner. Now, all these people are doing it around me. They're getting red screen, red screen,
No,
red screen,
ooh,
red screen.
okay, all
I
right.
got a freaking blue screen. I said, "What did I get?" He goes, "You won a 4-day trip to Cabo." I said, "Stop." He goes, "Yeah, all you have to do is drive downtown to downtown Disney and watch a 90-minute presentation at the Wyndham." I said, "What?"
Okay.
That's a full day event.
Well, I mean, driving to Disneyland and then sitting through it, and then drive. Yeah, that's definitely a full day event.
I don't want to do that.
But it would be 4 days in Cabo, though.
Yeah, maybe I will do it. Maybe I'll just say, Lance, I need a vacation for a day. I need to go to downtown Disney for a day, have a drink. Maybe I'll have like a Mai Tai at
There you
downtown
go.
Disney that feels very Mai Tai like. And then I'll go to Cabo.
But you have
Anyway, so that was the win yesterday, but that was that. So what about you? Any fun plans over the weekend? Anything of note other than the naps?
coming up this weekend or the weekend I just had.
Either.
No, I didn't get to talk about this last week, but I'll talk about it real quick. I did have the passing of my dog Stella, so there was still a little bit mourning of that. We had a French bulldog named Stella who lived to be 13 years old, and unfortunately, she passed away. She was getting old. She was pretty blind and deaf at this point, kidney failure, all that ridiculous stuff at that age. So affecting myself, my kids, my wife, Lauren. So it's been tough, but we're kind of cycling through it and trying to get on with everything.
It's really, really so hard.
Yeah, it is. We lit a yard site candle for Stella
I
because
saw that.
as we I don't know if that's like legal in the Jewish. I don't know if animals count to light yard side candles, but
What's the worst thing that happens? You're going to get like struck down?
yeah, Mr. Yahrzeit is going to strike me down from above.
Is
I
there a rule around yard site candles? Like,
don't know. I
go
just
to
always feel
Grok.
up. What was that?
Go to Grok and ask him.
I don't want to ask Grok. Can I ask ChatGPT instead?
Grok is 10 times better than ChatGPT.
Really?
1000%.
Why?
I don't know. I like it so much better.
Okay, I'll try it out. All I know is Gemini sucks, which is the Google one. Blows. Fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. There's got to be. I don't know why. I've been gravitating to Grok.
Interesting. Anyway, so we still getting over that. So it was a pretty mellow weekend. This weekend.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We're carrying on. At least she was 13. She had her little bark mitzvah because, of course, it's so
She
ridiculous.
was a woman.
She was a very old and grumpy woman.
Yeah.
But we
Listen, you do the right thing when you decide to put down a dog that is not living a good life. I've done so much research on this because of my own dog, and it's so hard. But every piece of research I do really drives the fact that most people keep their dogs too long for personal, for what's the word, for like selfish reasons.
right.
And it's not for the happiness of the actual dog who's usually suffering.
I know. And so, quick little story, and this is like the saddest thing, and just kind of amazing when you think about dogs and why we still get dogs, even though we know dogs are going to die sometime during our lifetime. When we kind of made the decision, and I was going to bring Stella to the vet last Saturday. I brought Stella, and I was in the vet room, just saw the vet, and we were talking about putting her down. And my vet basically said, "Yeah, you shouldn't feel any guilt at this point because this is really her time, and if you decide to do it, it makes a lot of sense to do it now. I would not hold you. No one can hold any against you at that point because, of course, you do feel guilt. You're putting a dog to sleep." So I'm like, "Let me call my wife." So he left the room, and I called Lauren, and we talked it over, and we said, we should do it. So I hang up the phone. And meanwhile, my dog Stella is kind of just, again, she's like deaf and blind. She's like roaming around the room. Can't really see, can't really hear anything. She's just very confused. So I hang up the phone. And after I hang up the phone, vet's still outside. I start bawling, like
Oh,
crying like crazy. And I'm like, I'm very audible too, very loud crier.
you
Um,
are.
probably a very ugly crier, which is good. I didn't have a mirror there because it would have made me cry even more, and then I couldn't look at the mirror.
You make yourself cry more when you see yourself crying?
Yeah, because I'm an ugly crier.
You're crying at yourself for being
Yes,
ugly too?
and I don't know if it's because I'm scared of myself when I'm crying, or if I'm just miserable that I'm ugly.
Okay.
So I'm so I start crying, and Stella again, who's like wandering the room, like not knowing what's up, she can sense
Of
still
course.
that I'm crying, and she comes up to me and like starts cuddling with me, and I'm like, she hasn't done this in months because she's old, and she knew that there was something really wrong with me, and I like, I mean, I've never felt like that connected to a pet, especially at that moment. To realize like this dog is living a shitty life right now because she's so sick, but she still saw, or at least felt, that I was devastated and came up to me and started cuddling with me, um, which probably made me cry even more. But
Yeah.
it was it was just one of those things where I thought it was just very powerful, and I've never kind of felt that way before with a pet, and I am very, very sad. I'm not, I think we made the correct decision to do what we did, but we'll miss her. We will miss her. She is gone, and I'm waiting for her ashes.
Mm.
We have my father-in-law is like right up on the shelf, so we'll put Stella right next to my father-in-law. Keep him company.
Aw. Yeah, it's a wild thing, the loss of a pet, especially dog. I mean, dogs are by far to me more special, I think, than personally than like a lot of people feel really strong about their cats. I personally didn't connect with my cat as much as I connect with my dogs.
Right.
Definitely more so than like fish or the hamsters or whatever, you know. And now I have guinea pigs in our home, but like I when our dogs go, especially Frankie, my older one, my little one that sleeps in
Yeah,
our
I
bed,
know Frankie.
it will not be an easy loss. And you know it's coming and it's going to happen. It's like inevitable, right?
Yes.
And you wouldn't give it up for the world, right? Like you'll do it again. You're going to get another
I
dog
have
in your
another dog. We have
lifetime
a dog we got a year ago. So it's like we have our second French
and
bulldog.
you're going to do it again, by
I
the
know.
way.
I know. And it's horrifying.
But that's the thing about love. And that's the thing about these risks that you take when you kind of choose to bring that love in is it's all a risk obviously because you're falling in love, which is no, and in real life, like you have kids, you fall in love with your spouse, your partner, assuming knowing that like at some point either you're dying, they're dying, like
Yeah.
it's going to end, but you kind of don't think about that, like you kind of
No,
push it to the side. This is 99.9% going to happen in your lifetime, like you're going to lose them.
I know.
If you're lucky, you'll lose them and they won't lose you, right? Like that's the hope that
Yeah.
you lose your animal
But it's like
and they don't lose you.
I still want to do it again.
Of
Like,
course.
because I love, and this is really my first like real pet. Like I never really had a dog growing up.
You didn't
So
have a chia pet growing up? Chia.
um no, I didn't actually have a chia pet. I had frogs, and then they broke out. They were hopping all over the house. And it was
Oh, like I
fucking
thought you meant like
disgusting.
with pimples. I was
No,
like, what?
no. I had frogs jumping all over my damn house.
Wow.
And then like for weeks to months later, we found dead frogs all over the house because they were
Wow,
getting everywhere. I know.
gross.
My parents were so pissed at me.
I
So
had a worse experience. Okay, keep going.
no. Now I want to hear about your worst experience.
We had bunnies. My mom like did us a favor and got us little bunnies and they lived outside. Like we had an outdoor really cool cage that was covered.
Yeah.
And it was like in a covered area in our backyard. This is when I was really young, like under 8 years old or something.
Okay.
And I remember this, but for some reason they had babies, but they like were married. I mean, they were from the same family. It was like there was some sort of weird chromosomal issue, and they had babies, but all their babies came out defected and
Oh God.
deformed.
Oh
So
God. Ew,
every
ew,
single one
ew.
of their babies was like 2 heads, missing body parts. Like, I just will never forget it. It was like a big lot of fucked up babies.
That is the
It
most
was it was
disturbing
like a
thing.
nightmare. That's
Like a
my
fucking
memory.
science experiment.
It really was. I'll never get bunnies.
You had incestual bunnies.
No, like I really think we had like crazy like hick like hick bunnies. And my mom was like, I don't know what is it. You know, my Israeli mom. She's like, what
Yes.
did you do? Why did you make me do
Ew.
this?
Yeah,
What
I'd forced brother and sister to mate together.
she's what? Why? Why
Oh
did
my
you do this?
God.
Anyway, well, I'm so sorry about Stella the doggy. We went from talking about hot dogs to dead dogs.
And now I just have deformed two-headed bunnies and like limbs missing. It's stuck in my head.
Listen, it's life. That's
That's not
life.
life.
No, it's really
That's
not.
fucked up. That's like
It's
horror
really
movie
bad.
shit.
Um,
Ugh.
well, I hope that, the pain will always be there, but it will get less and less. I don't know. I can always cry if I see anything about like the Rainbow Bridge.
No, well, I don't even know what does that mean.
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
something people say about dead
I
animals.
know. Is it all animals or just dogs? The Rainbow Bridge.
Sure,
I know.
all that, but I'm sure mostly dogs, I think, is like the thing.
And then someone told me to watch that movie, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Do you remember that
Why?
cartoon?
Why you what?
I'm
Just
like,
to cry?
yeah, I want to. All dogs go to heaven. That's just fucking about dogs dying. Like, why do I want to see that after I just
Any
found a dog?
anytime there is a story, a movie, anything about animals, death, like it's so sad. You can Did you see, speaking of a little happy story, did you see that little story about the dog that was reunited with his family in Israel after being
No.
kidnapped
Oh shit.
on October 7th?
No.
It just happened last week.
Wow.
Um, Someone sent it to me on a DM. It was so sweet. He was in Gaza
Okay.
and there was an IDF soldier and he ran to him because he recognized Hebrew.
See, this is why dogs are the best. This is
Dogs
why
are
dogs
so smart. He
yes.
recognized Hebrew, and somehow they recognized the fact that he was kidnapped in a weird, strange way from the kibbutz. And the owner of the dog had been killed, but the neighbors of the family of the guy who owned the dog took the dog. So they drove him back to Israel, and they filmed the reunion of the dog running, and his little tail was going crazy to this group of like a few women and little kids like speaking Hebrew to him because he finally could understand his words.
Yeah, and be with his people, and not with a bunch of terrorists.
Yes. And even if he was just living with like the local families or whatever, he didn't understand what they were saying to him. He didn't speak their language.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's so sad if you think about it. Like animals also, they don't understand other languages, right? Like, so if you adopt a dog from Mexico and then you bring them to America, they're like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. If you're like, come here. Hola.
Wow.
Anyway, it was sweet.
Oh man. That is interesting. I mean, more Jew in the news. That's just ridiculous. Jews in the news. There was that story, I think it was last week, about Andrew Garfield. Did you read that one?
Well, let's talk about this because I thought it was actually so cool, and it kind of just like skated underground.
I know, which is really kind of sucks with I know. Anytime Jews are in the news about
in a positive way,
or like in a way where, and when you think about this story, and we'll get into it, it's probably a story you would want to highlight because it is more of the history shouldn't repeat itself type information and understanding what the Holocaust has done to families and what has done to the rest of Jews out there. And it's interesting to see what happens. So basically, I mean, long story short, Andrew Garfield, I think he's Jewish but his dad's side, he was tracing it back to see where his great grandparents came from. And he was able to trace it back to Poland and understand where they were in terms of escaping the Holocaust and how they kind of spread out throughout the world. Some went to Brazil, some went to other parts, but kind of understanding what happened back then, to separate all the families. And of course, a number of his, I guess, great aunts at the time had passed away, who got killed in the Holocaust, at, I believe, Treblinka. And there's like a lot of these crazy stories, and it's very similar to what a lot of Jewish people go through in terms of understanding their history and what their family went through.
Yeah, I mean, the show is called, it's a popular show. It's called Who Do You Think You Are? Um, I don't know exactly how to find it. I'm sure if you looked on like Hulu or any of those networks or streaming platforms, you could find it somewhere. But this one is about Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, and specifically his story goes, it's a Polish Jewish heritage on his father Richard's side. His mom, Lynn, died from pancreatic cancer in 2019.
Hmm?
It says he is an anglicization of the Polish family's name, Garfinkel, Garfinkiel. So that's why Garfield is the
And
name.
it's like when my dad and my grandparents came through Ellis Island, the way you pronounce my last name. So my name, we pronounce it Newman, but it was Neumann. It was the same spelling, but the way they pronounced it was Neumann. So a lot of times what happens, again, when you come through, they Americanize your name a little bit more so you'll fit in and assimilate more. So we were changed to Newman instead of Neumann.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from the hometown of Kielce. I'm saying that wrong, right? Kielce. How do you say it?
Travis Kilsey, yes.
And it says his great grandfather and great grandmother lived there. They left for London, and as a child in 1910, anti-Semitism accelerated, and the move may have been in order to provide more easily for his mother and 5 sisters he left behind. Pogroms in the early 1900s had destroyed many Jewish businesses, and thousands of Jews were killed. That he would soon find familial tragedy in Kelsey felt grimly inevitable, and so it proved. His family had lived in a street close to where the ghetto was formed in 1941, and where they would have been corralled. It transpired horrifically that 3 of the sisters, and then their names, which are hard to say, had almost certainly been murdered at that death camp. All traces of them erased. But the other part of the story, and then it says he wept as he placed stones for each of them. The other part of the story showed the breadth of hope, possibility, and opportunity for those who managed to escape to other countries. He was overjoyed to learn that his great-great-grandmother had escaped certain death in the Holocaust by joining her daughter in Brazil in 1936. Tragically, though, 2 of her daughters were denied visas, and after their letters from Poland stopped, they were never heard from again, et cetera, et cetera. And then it says actually that one of the family members married into a family whose husband's cousin was the musician whose story was told in the movie The Pianist.
Which is fucking crazy. I mean, that's how small the world is for Jews. That is how that happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a small world with the Jews. It's crazy. I mean, we're all related in some weird way. So I'm surprised that we're not like the bunnies that have all the different heads.
Well, I mean, they do say it, and this is the fucked up part. We talked about this before. My stomach issue, which is ulcerative colitis, they say like a lot of these Jewish diseases like Tay Sachs or ulcerative colitis are from inbreeding, like bunnies, where through the old country where they ended up, sometimes marrying cousins or hooking up that way and having children. It's just, it's just more bullshit that Jews went through, and now we have stomachs that need infusions every fucking 8 weeks. So that's my story with my stomach.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt the story, and I think you said it correctly, that it was kind of swept under the rug. And this is the type of thing where we, as a humanity, should kind of understand and study and see the horrifics of what happened in the past, and see how families are completely torn apart and completely separated when something horrific and disgusting like this happens. And this is why when you visit these places and you see exactly what happened, you weep, and it's very, very sad. Like to uh, I've been to Auschwitz. I've been to where my grandparents were held, where my grandparents were liberated from. They lost three of their sons just through the gas chambers at Auschwitz. Um, and you see the unbelievable cruelty that they had lived through, and what a one man and an entire country and an entire movement tried to do to us as Jews, just for being Jewish and just for being who we are,
Mm.
and to see so how it affected our people. I mean, 6 million Jews is unreal when you think about it, because of how many Jews there would be more today. If 6 million were eliminated back then, how many, if they were never eliminated, how many more Jews would we have in this world today? And it's scary to think that this could actually happen. And it's one of those things that we as Jewish people continue to worry about. I don't know if there's another Holocaust in the future, but the fact that people are still violently
Don't even
against,
put that out there.
well, okay, I won't. But even though they're violently against us, and there's all this shit going on in the world now with anti-Semitism, it is scary as fuck, man. And I don't want to have to defend myself, protect myself, but I will if I have to. And it's just we don't want to go through what we did before, and that's why sweeping a story like this under the rug is not a smart move. And I think more people need to hear these stories. I'll get off my
Yeah, I
soapbox.
mean, sometimes I get really overwhelmed. We said it last week with Marnie about, when we were talking about all this, I get like crazy overwhelmed when like I'm reading and like I'm finding myself like seeing the comments and like last night, every weekend on my other show, I have a Patreon, which is like a members only
Mm-hmm.
content. And I talk a little bit more about like personal stuff and just a little bit less, pop culture-y. Sometimes I talk about the anti-Semitism stuff and whatever, just a little bit more, niche content. And I talked about this week's episode of Just You and Me and with Marnie, the last week's episode, and I mentioned the kneecap story.
Mm.
And in that, my comments were so interesting. I got one comment, and I didn't even go into the details. I just
Right.
said that how it was so upsetting and how we talked about that case, right? How we talked
Mm-hmm.
about that story. And this is a comment that I got on that on the story.
Okay.
It's so wild. This is a comment I get. Most comments were fine and good. The
This is
band you spoke about at Coachella, not understanding why you can't say they were helping Palestinians caught up in this mess. You said they are pro-Hamas. Nowhere in any of their promotions or actions do they even mention Hamas. Can you not see that some people actually empathize with the suffering of the Palestinian innocent people without being pro-Hamas? The two things are not the same. Your simplistic analysis and statement is just wrong. This is from somebody who reads Haaretz for 18 months and who watches I-24 News daily. So don't slur me with being ill-informed. Try to open your brain to understand that a huge portion of the world are in pain, looking at the bloody bodies, body parts, horrors of Gaza, and they also want the Israeli hostages home, and they do not support Hamas. Simplistic statements do not wash in these circumstances. And so I respond, Lori, one simple search will show you that they openly advocate for Hezbollah and Hamas on their Instagram.
Yeah, it's right there. It took me 2 seconds to figure that one out.
Why is she so like sure that they don't?
Because this is what these people are like. They are brainwashed at this point.
Like they're wearing their flag colors.
Listen. I know. They
And then I
think
said, I am not anti-Palestinian. I hurt for the suffering of innocent people. But the words F Israel, Free Palestine at a concert are too far and are a call for violence and the death of Israel, you think that is peaceful? So
Any
why is
response
it
to that?
okay for them to be the to be the violent aggressors, but we can't?
Did Lori respond back?
No response.
No response.
She probably canceled her Patreon.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm surprised she had a Patreon. She was paying you to see content, which I'm interested after knowing.
I just don't understand because they're quick. These people are so quick to say, you're wrong. They're not advocating for anything wrong. They just care about the Palestinians. But this is such a clear cut, obvious reason to
Right.
say, hey, maybe they are or maybe they are violent people. Why can't we just get one time where people are saying, maybe you're right? Because it's not like we're sitting here saying Green Day should be deported or any of the other bands that say anything positive about Palestinian children. It's
Yeah,
this
because
specific band.
they're not advocate. So if you take Green Day, who Billy Joel wrapped uh, Palestinian flag around him, and he said something about the kids of Palestine. Right, he said it once and twice during a concert, something like that. Free speech. You're allowed to do that, and we as Jews or we as supporters of Israel can be angry, and that's freedom of speech for them, but also freedom. They have consequences of free speech, and people who don't want to be fans of them don't have to be fans of them anymore. But
But
then when you
also, it's
look at
not
some,
coming from a place of violence. It's not
correct,
coming from a
correct.
place of, oh, I care about the kids of Palestine, so let's go murder the other
Right.
people.
And that's the problem, is when this movement has completely turned the anti-Israel, pro-Palestine movement has turned into saying that resistance is justified. And the issue, when you think about resistance, quote unquote, in this scenario, resistance is killing, raping, burning people alive, innocent people who had nothing to do with it. So that's where they're advocating for, is their type of resistance.
Yeah.
So that's the difference again between a Green Day, as you pointed out, and a knee jerk or circle jerk or fucking fuckheads, whatever they're called.
That's the thing. It's like I may not agree with a lot of people's opinions out here, but I do think that you're allowed to feel, not only are you allowed to feel, I feel for the poor innocent people. It's it's about the response to feeling for the poor innocent people. It's tit for tat versus I want war to stop, or war should stop and now let's go kill the people
Right.
that we think are creating a genocide. Okay, instead of saying, like, if you're thinking that Israel is causing a genocide, which obviously we don't believe this, but if you feel Israel is so aggressive and causing a genocide and killing people constantly in a senseless way, how is it that you're right? The right response is, now let's go kill Israel and everyone in it. That doesn't make any
Because
sense.
of course it doesn't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. But to them, it's that the Jews in Israel are the oppressors,
Yeah.
and oppressors must be stopped at any means necessary. And by any means necessary to them is to do what Hamas is doing. And that is something they still think is something that makes a lot of sense for that group to do. It is the mental gymnastics that one has to go through to get to that point is unbelievable. I don't understand it for the life of me. And I would hope if I wasn't Jewish, I'd still understand this and would not be brainwashed in this ridiculous way. Because again, what goes on in your fucking head to think that, yes, there's a genocide, so now we got to kill everybody in Israel as resistance, and from the river to the sea, and get rid of the entire country.
Yeah.
It's and you said earlier, don't bring out the thought of another Holocaust, but then I not that I think there's going to be a Holocaust, but the idea that this many people think that resistance and killing Jews is the correct way of resistance and reacting to this, it's frightening. It is something that is definitely something that, I don't know, just scares the shit out of me, and I'm sure a lot of other Jews out there. So
Yeah.
Well, the good news though is that I believe they don't have their visas anymore to come back to the United States after the stupid little stunt they pulled at Coachella. Now I
And then
know,
there's a ton of other stuff that's getting pulled out of like their history and things they've done in
right?
other events.
They've had terrorist threats towards a member of parliament
Uh-huh.
in Britain. They continue to do things that are, you know, hate, not just hate speech but terror speech.
They're
I know,
anti-authority, they're
right,
not anti just Jews, they're anti-civilization. Like they're
right.
not.
They it's so right now I think they have what, it's like 15 shows scheduled in the United States, and they're still scheduled. The tickets have been sold. It's still all, I think they're all sold out, which is even
Yeah.
scarier.
Yeah.
But hopefully they will not be performing because their visas have been revoked. So I hope it stays that way and they won't come back to this country.
Yeah. I mean, like there's just so many it's we got to, I don't know. There's like a certain line in the sand that you kind of have to draw about like what point do we, as like a nation, you have to say like this is actually allowing and putting terrorist supporters on a stage and being like yay, clapping, and then supporting them by paying their tickets, basically supporting them financially, and then getting indoctrinated by that kind of messaging. It's so crazy, but with
I
the
know.
under the guise of music.
And I made the mistake of going on their social and looking at the comments underneath their, any of their
Mistakes.
posts. It's again, um, to have a microphone that loud, to not only be at Coachella but then to have that much news coverage about it, and then probably gain followers, gain views, gain streams, and then
Mm.
people continue to probably listen to their music, and there are probably more people listening to their music.
Mm-hmm.
And to see the people in their comment section, yeah, go for it, we agree, and we, from the river to the sea, fuck Israel. It's like it's another world. It's this,
It's another world.
when you think that, when you have this belief that Israel's committing genocide, yet you think the best way to deal with it is violence and resistance. It makes no sense at all to me.
Mm-mm. 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 No, not at all. Not at all. And you know, it's crazy. I just saw a post right before we started. Did you see this post of what Nike did? This is devastating too.
Yeah, I
In
mean,
the
this is
UK.
this is like,
Did that not bother
I,
you?
I don't I don't understand. You can talk about it. Well, talk about it first, and I'll tell you. As a marketer, it does not fucking. I don't understand. But what did it?
So
So
so in the UK, okay, over the weekend or last week was Yom HaShoah, which is the Holocaust Remembrance Day. And that is a very, very important day for Jews and the world, because the Holocaust was a huge day, just like last week was Armenian Genocide Day, which is a LAUSD school. I mean,
yep,
national holiday basically. LAUSD is out of school. They're
yeah,
not out of school for Yom HaShoah,
right.
but they are out of school for Armenian Genocide Day. I mean, they're both very important holidays, and it should be a very important holiday. So last week was Yom HaShoah, and meanwhile in the UK, which has a very, very strong anti-Israel presence, from what I've
Mm-hmm.
heard. I mean, very strong Muslim and anti-Israel presence. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I read a whole thing about it recently, but last night, or was it yesterday? When was it? It
I
was,
don't know, sometime over the weekend.
they had some sort of marathon,
Marathon, yeah.
and Nike, I'm trying to share it actually.
Oh, the
Someone
picture
sent
of
this
it.
to me, the picture. Nike played, or Nike put up this ad, because Nike is, a big sponsor probably of these. Share screen here. Tell me if you see it. Do you see it?
It's coming. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
And it says a big sign kind of right in, do you know what that's called? The big wheel, whatever it's called?
The London Eye, I
The
think.
London Eye. And it's a huge sign that says never again until next year. And it's a Nike sign. And never again is the slogan of the Holocaust,
Yep.
essentially saying never again, which is right around the Holocaust Remembrance Day. It is a wild choice of words.
Now, I guess they're thinking, and my guess is the whole thought of it is like when you're done with the marathon, you're like, holy shit, I'm never going to do this again. And then you end up doing it next year. Like
Of
if
course,
you
it's
know a
about
lot
the
of marathon run.
marathon. It's
No,
not
of course,
about
I
the
know. I'm just
Holocaust.
saying. Well, some
I
people
know.
may view it that way because
Well,
some people are
yeah.
like, oh, there was probably a message, as some kind of anti-Semite came up with that and it slipped through the cracks and all that. I don't. I think there's a lot of coincidences to be completely honest with you. I don't think something like this was meant to happen from Nike. I don't think Nike did it on purpose to piss off the Jews. That's my feeling. However, the fact that it happened to begin with is horrifying. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that people don't get that, I mean, the timing is fucking impeccable, right? When you talk about Holocaust Remembrance Day. And then you have you have a sign that goes up that says that. It's like and I'm not saying you have to have somebody who's Jewish on your marketing team or the agency you work with or any of that. But for the love of God, this is a phrase that so many people know and so many people have heard of. Like the fact that that wasn't thought through, or at least kind of filtered through a bunch of people, that no one saw that and no one understood that was probably the wrong terminology to use. A little ridiculous.
Well, there should be some sort of software in 2025 that you can like throw. And I'm not joking. That you can throw like marketing logos through to be like you could check for copyright. You could check
Right.
for is this in some way insensitive? Can this get us in trouble in some way? Has this been used before? Are we going to get sued? You know what I mean? Like this would make sense with the use of like AI. You would think there would be some sort of easy, just like throw it through this quick
Well,
software.
I so first of all, AI should be you could probably run it through at the very least your favorite grok
Or ChatGPT,
or
anything.
ChatGPT anything,
Hey,
and
we want
it
to use
should
this.
tell you.
Is this insensitive? Is this
Right.
used by anyone? What culture would be offended by this?
Right. And to be honest with you, a lot of stuff from a marketing perspective, when I create marketing or I'm working on something, we run a lot of these things through our legal team as well to make sure we're
Legal.
not doing anything. So
Yeah.
I don't understand how something like that completely missed the mark, and not only missed the mark, but completely fucked it up
Well,
and
I don't want
had
to
this
like
happen.
I don't want to, jump to scary conclusions, but the UK is. I got sent another video from one of my listeners on my other show who is
Hmm.
Jewish, and it scared the shit out of me about how the
Okay.
UK has basically like all of the mayors of the small, I think they're called mayors of like the smaller towns in the UK. So like, Leeds and like the different little like kind of province. I don't even know what you call it in
Okay.
England. Like I don't know the
Right,
terminology
right,
of what
right.
they're called, the little towns of
Okay.
so many of them are Muslim. And like a lot of them, it's like a lot of AOC types
Okay.
and who
AOC's
are
not Muslim.
not, but like people that are not, I know, but I'm just thinking people that are not like prioritizing Jews in their
You may
heart.
want to, or at least Rashida Tlaib. Like
There
you
you
can say
go.
her. That's
There
probably a
you go.
better
That's
parallel.
probably a better one. Yes. I don't know why AOC just jumps to mind because she scares me now that she's
The
like
whole
such a front
squad.
runner.
The whole
Well,
squad's
AOC is not,
yes.
I don't even know is she considered still a squad member, AOC?
Yeah, I think she is. I think she's gonna. You'll
She's just
see her
masking it well.
probably.
She's masking it
She'll probably in the next few years like distance a little bit, but yeah, she's
because
still squad.
she's going to try to run for president.
Of course.
And I'm like terrified over that. But
Well, we'll do that. We'll do that episode in 2027.
and that will be like the most heightened episode of our lives. We'll fight. Rashida, well, yeah, I mean, that episode, we should have talked about this last week about Rashida, Ilhan Omar, and the other
Yes.
one, Presley, voting for Israel to be like on the list with Iran
Yeah,
and North Korea.
and China.
North Korea,
It,
China, and Iran, and
yeah,
Israel.
there were three. I mean, AOC did not vote for that, which is crazy to me.
What was it? Three against how many?
The three against, however many House of Representatives there are. I don't know the final.
It was the most overwhelming unanimous vote other than those three freaking anti-Israel people. They hate us. Like, it's crazy.
Donna, I still believe as crazy as this country is, I'm still, as a Jew, I'm still happy we live in this country. Like, besides Israel, I think honestly, when we talked to Marnie last week, and we hear how much anti-Semitism is up there, when I hear stories from friends, Jewish friends that I know in Canada.
I have a friend that lives in Toronto. She tells me crazy shit.
And when you're talking about all the stuff in the UK, like, again, as much as we are scared here, and especially in Los Angeles, I feel still a little bit safer than a lot of other places than we hear about, because I still think there's a stronger sentiment in the other direction. But still be aware of everything that's going on.
But what's scary is that it wasn't always this way, and it happened so fast. That's what. So this woman that sent me this video about the UK said, I was there in 2013 with my child, and they were telling us like the plans for this kind of takeover, and how it wasn't anywhere near where it is now, and how in 10 years how they've accomplished so much, because it's so like that world is so, the population is so large, it's very easy to take over so fast. And like, that's what's so scary here in the US. It's like how much and how fast and how quick it's growing. And how the anti-Jew, anti-Israel sentiment is growing like wildfire. And so that's the shit that like keeps me up sometimes and gets me really overwhelmed.
I hear, and it shouldn't be something we ignore. I mean, I don't want it to overwhelm and consume all of us. But it should be on our minds, and it should be something that we are definitely.
But that's why we do these shows. Like, that's why we're doing Just You and Me. It's because the more we normalize speaking about Judaism, and not just like Shalom Judaism, but like just being Jewish, just normalizing. Because I was doing a Patreon happy hour. Speaking of my Patreon, I do a happy hour Zoom where I get to see face.
A lot of advertising for your other
Join
shows
Patreon
over here, Jesus Christ.
Maybe Just You and Me is sponsored by Daily Dose of Donna.
Oh, cool. All right, that's good. I like that. Let's do it. You're right.
As by the way, as it should be. So someone's calling me from a 917 number. Who?
New York?
Isn't that 917?
New York.
And like calling me over and over and over.
Who is 917?
Did I have a phone call on Monday okay.
Jerry Seinfeld?
Maybe it's Jerry Seinfeld.
I'm thinking Jews in New York. Maybe Jerry?
Maybe.
No.
So the point is that I was really truly I was really touched, because I was doing this happy hour Zoom, and so I was seeing the face of all these people, and a couple of them said, I never met a Jew ever in my entire life, and I just knew like 3 of them my entire life. And listening to your show, you would just mention that you're Jewish, and now I feel like I know Jews. Like, I have become, and not even from Just You and Me, just from Daily Dose of Donna. So the more we can just like normalize us.
Yeah.
And that I think that's really important for just anyone out there that lives in towns that they don't have access to anyone that's Jewish. And then they just see like very Orthodox people on TV. Right. And they think that's Jewish.
Or they see the other extreme where it's just Hollywood people doing that. But like in all honesty, we're just normal people. We're just the same as everybody else. Yeah, okay, fine. I have my stomach shit, and I have everything else that's wrong with me because of all the inbreeding.
You're a very loud, audible crier.
I am.
Now I know.
I feel like, you should do? There's one movie that makes me cry, so we could watch that
All
movie
Dogs
right
Go to
before.
Heaven.
No, fuck no, I'm not watching that movie. Although it'd probably make me cry. If you threw on E.T. by another Jew, Steven Spielberg, if you threw on E.T., I would cry right now on this podcast. And I'd
Really?
be, oh my God,
Which
there's
part?
nothing. The very end. When he's saying goodbye to
Oh, when he's
E.T.
saying
and
what's it?
the
He's
John
in.
Williams music comes
Is it the
on.
M&Ms or the Reese's or whatever?
Don't M&Ms me. Come on. It's Reese's. Reese's Pieces. M&Ms. Ah,
Reese's Pieces.
I'm going to cry right
How
now just
about
thinking about it.
Beaches? Beaches is my cry movie.
Beaches. Who's in that again? I don't even know.
Cece Bloom. Are you
What?
kidding me? Beaches?
Yes, I've
Wind
heard of
Beneath
the
My
movie.
Wings?
I don't. Oh, that's right. That's right. I've never seen the movie.
Did you ever
Oh my
know that
God.
you're my hero? Come on,
You going to
Adam.
continue? You're
Go.
everything I wish I could be.
Is this going to be our karaoke song?
If I can fly higher
Higher than
than
an
an eagle,
eagle. 'Cause you
you are
are the
the
wind
wind beneath
beneath my
my
wings.
wings.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. As always, thank you for subscribing to Adam is not being recorded because of low browser storage. What the hell is low browser storage? You have no browser storage? It's you. Are you on your phone? Joining from the Riverside desktop app will also help. Do you see that? Well, maybe I should just finish the show. Okay, I'm just going to finish the show. Okay, hold on. Thank you guys so much for being here and subscribing to Just You and Me. Make sure to follow along on Instagram at Just You and Me. Adam will continue to post on the Instagram if he's doing his job correctly. And make sure to yes, subscribe and follow and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will be back every Wednesday over here on YouTube and the audios. Bye, guys.